Hey, this is Camo for Nashville Access, Facebook Live at the Pie Wagon for the Pie Wagon Sessions, and we're joined today by a really cool up-and-coming artist named Freeman Arthur. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I got my pick in my hand.
That's
Thank
right.
you. I'm doing just good.
Thanks for joining us today. You kind of popped up and kind of got aware of you and listened to your music, and you are a traditional country artist, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I guess you don't really find very many 21-year-olds that are trying to take the traditional approach to it. Yeah, I grew up on people like Alan Jackson and Randy Travis, and even if you're going later than that, people like George Jones and Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings and guys like that. And that's just kind of been always where I've been able to draw my inspiration from. So I try to stay traditional to my roots and kind of what I grew up on. I mean, I just play the music that I love and grew up on. So
that's cool. Is that hard? Because we were talking before we started rolling. I grew up playing steel guitar, so it wasn't exactly a babe magnet. So is that kind of hard, being young and having that kind of music, that's the music you love, when everybody else around you is into the more pop stuff?
I mean, for sure. I mean, because even my friends that I grew up with in high school, they like the new kind of bro country kind of music, and from time to time trying to explain to them that what country music used to be and what it used to sound like, and what it sounds like today. To a lot of people, this is just an opinion, but to a lot of people today, country music just really isn't country anymore. It's kind of taken on this pop and just kind of sound feel, and I mean, there's a lot of people that like that, but I still think that there's room for that real, those pedal steel guitars to fit in there. I still think there's a market for that out there. I still think there are people that love and appreciate that type of music. And so, I'm just doing my best to try to give people, something that's new, but something that's kind of old at the same time. So.
It seems like it's coming back around, too, and you've got guys like Mo Pitney getting success, and William Michael Morgan getting success, and those are, Nashville-based guys. But then you've got so much Texas influence, and that's been traditional always.
Yeah, Texas. I read something on Facebook one time. If you go down to Texas and try to play a country music show and you don't have a steel guitar, you're going to get thrown out. So there's Texas for you.
That's cool. And guys like Mark Chestnut have released albums this year. Alan Jackson's got a new one out.
Yeah, I think Mark Chestnut's, what was it, Tradition Lives? Is that the one that he came out with? Yeah, and Alan Jackson, of course, releasing Angels and Alcohol. Yeah. A good album for them. Great albums, y'all need to go check them out.
Yeah. You're not only an artist, but you're an Opry Ambassador.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, I work for the Grand Ole Opry. Currently, right now that it is November, the Opry is down at the Ryman Auditorium, so my job is a little bit more limited than it usually is, but I still go down to the Ryman and help guests that come there and just kind of make sure that everybody has a good time. We're an ambassador for the brand, so we try to make everybody feel that good Southern hospitality that Nashville has. But whenever I'm at the Opry House, which we'll go back to in February, we do the backstage tours there after the show. If you take our exclusive VIP tour, we bring you backstage before the show starts, and you're actually on stage whenever the curtain goes up. So that's something that's pretty cool to check out also. But
is that neat as an artist who's trying to get there? To be there and see how other people are doing it, is that a learning curve, or is it kind of one of those things where you're chomping at the bit because you need to be up in that round circle?
Well, it's kind of frustrating at times. Well, maybe I don't want to say frustrating, but because you're so close every time physically you're so close, but then mentally you feel like you're so far away. And one of the things about the Opry, every time that I do give a backstage tour, and we bring the guests out on stage to actually stand in that circle and get their picture taken, every time I walk around it, I don't step foot on the circle, because to me, if I'm ever blessed enough to make my own Opry debut someday, I want that moment to be very special. So I always just kind of walk around. People said, well, what if I push you down in the circle? I said, I do my best to fall which way or the other. I don't want to fall into it. Because for me, that was really the basis of why I moved to Nashville. I wanted to play the Grand Ole Opry. The Grand Ole Opry has been something that I've been passionate about since I was 4 years old. So to be able to work there is just a blessing in of itself. But every day, I'm working and striving to try to make that dream come true. I was fortunate enough do Coffee, Country, and Cody on WSM radio last September.
I saw that.
So
and
yes,
that's really cool because WSM is a legend, and that's almost like being at the Opry. You get to be on WSM. That's pretty cool.
yeah, for sure. I mean, if for some reason I never do get to play the Opry, I will say that I think I've got the next closest thing to it, which was be able to perform live on WSM. So that in itself is just a huge honor.
Where is it you're from? Tell us where you're from.
I am from Ripley, Tennessee, which is in Lauderdale County, which is about 60 miles north of Memphis, Tennessee. So I live right up close to the Mississippi River. Actually, where my parents are originally from, it's really far into West Tennessee. If you had a good enough arm, you could probably throw a rock and hit Arkansas. I mean, it's just way out there. But yeah, small town population, probably about 8,000, 7,000, 8,000, something like that. So a small town, but just about 60 miles north of Memphis. It's about a 3-hour drive from here, just right down I-40. So.
Wow. And you're a student at Belmont.
Yeah, I've got a year left at Belmont. I plan to graduate December of next year, so I've got about a year left. So I'll go to school in the spring, maybe take a class or two in the summer, and then hopefully, hope I don't fail. That'd be bad.
Knock on veneer.
Yeah, knock on that right there. But yeah, then graduate in December next year.
So again, it's one of those things where you're really close. You're really close to Music Row.
Yes.
And you work really close to the magic circle.
It's all those things. They're all around me. It's just you gotta find your way to plug yourself and get in there. And it's one of those things that, ever since I've been in Nashville, I've been that close to Music Row. I've been that close to the Opry, and it's just. There are times that you feel like, man, it's just right there, so close. And then there's other times where you can get a little discouraged and you think, gosh, it's so far away. I'm right here, but it's so far away. It's one of those crazy things about the business that you run into.
So you've got an EP out. It's self-titled, Blessing. Freeman Arthur, Blessing or Lesson.
A Blessing or Lesson EP. Yeah, we released that at the end of June last year. Yeah, you can get that on iTunes. It's streaming on Spotify, also Google Play, Amazon. Or you can pick that up at my website. It's freemanarthur.com, FREEMANARTHUR, if you're wondering how to spell that. Yeah, you can pick that CD up at my website and we'll ship that out to you. But yeah, released that last June. We're getting ready to release a Christmas single. I'm going to do my own little rendition of Silver Bells.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to be headed out to Denver, Colorado in a couple of weeks to shoot a little Christmas music video for that out there. So
tell us about your music. You're traditional, and you've got some really heavyweight influences. How do you bring that in together to make it Freeman Arthur music?
And that's one thing that you always hear. Any time that you hear somebody give you a comparison like, oh, you sound like Randy Travis, or oh, you sound like Josh Turner, that's all well and good. But the thing about it is we've already had a Randy Travis. We've already had a Josh Turner. It's, how do you take, your influences and mold it into something that is brand new and that is you? And I think the path that I'm trying to follow is to not necessarily try to kick out everybody that is following newsstream and mainstream country, but to try to find that bridge that is kind of in between, these people that love traditional country music and these people that like the new stuff, and try to find a happy medium in there, because there are a lot of songs that are out in new country that are really good. I just think they could be a lot better if you threw a couple steel guitar licks in there and really made them country. And and I hear that when I listen to some stuff. I listen to some songs and thinking, man, that is a really good song, but I can hear in my head, there's a steel guitar lick right there. They should have thrown that in there. That would just sent chills down your spine.
I think when we talk about traditional country, people think of that as a block, and it's not. Even within traditional, you've got a lot of different elements. Alan Jackson is traditional, and George Strait is traditional, but they're very different in their approaches to country music.
Exactly. Yeah, and for me, those two have always been revered to me as the kings of what I guess I would classify as the prime, the prime country era. And there's people that love, like I said, I love country all the way back to the days of Porter Wagner, Roy Acuff, and all those guys way back then. And it's so great to see just how country music has kind of evolved and changed throughout the time. But I just think that you've gotten to this later portion where I think it's become more about the money instead of about the music, and that, to me, that's just a little bit sad.
There was Travis Tritt got a lot of flack for some of the tweets that he was doing about the CMA Awards, and he says that the song that changed country music was "Achy Breaky Heart." And we were trying to think if it was that song or Garth Brooks. Because Garth changed it. I remember I talked to Gary Morris a couple weeks ago, and he said, once Garth hit, artists couldn't go out on the road without a big show and be able to sell. So, and yet Garth is still pretty traditional.
Oh, yes.
So there's probably a lot of factors in there. So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, when you take somebody like Garth Brooks, just one entertainer of the year, he's a brilliant marketer. I mean, he can market himself, he can market his brand just so very well. And I actually, from time to time, I look at some of the things that he does and try to, how does he round up, people to continue to kind of make this comeback that he's making. I mean, he's never fell off. He's sold more albums than anybody. Anybody. I mean, Garth Brooks, whenever that announcement came out, people said, Garth Brooks? Really? Not Elvis? Not Michael Jackson? Garth Brooks? Garth Brooks. Yeah. And the reason for that is because, he's just such a genius. He's a great businessman. He's a great marketer, and he's also a great entertainer. I think he's got a show coming up. I was buying tickets. I don't even remember. I think he was going to like a Predators game or something, and a big thing come up. I think he's going to go play at Yankee Stadium. Yeah. So, just to have those type of advertisements in place for different people, he's very good about getting that out there, and just such a great entertainer, and of that in itself.
Yeah. So you've got your own career you're trying to build and create your own way. Is there anybody that you would use as there's kind of the way they've done it, and that's how I want to do it? Or are you just going out there and thinking, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to do some right stuff and then learn from the right stuff? Is that kind of
you mentioned earlier, Mo Pitney and then William Michael Morgan, and these kind of guys, a lot of people look at me and they say, hey, are you jealous of these guys because they're getting to do what you're doing? Of course not. They're helping me out because if they can do well, that means there's going to be a market for more of the stuff, the more traditional kind of stuff that I'm trying to do. So, they kind of help pave the way for people like me in a sense, even though that they're still older than me. They're a couple of years older than me, but we're essentially in kind of the same age bracket there. But, trying to figure out the business from somebody that's only been here a year, it's pretty tough. And, and Belmont offers some help for that, whenever I major in music business and things. But I've learned from the people that I've been around at the Opry and the people that talk to me, there's what the classroom, there's what you learn in the classroom, and then there's how the business really operates.
Exactly.
Which is different, in a sense.
Radio, they said, okay, you took all this stuff in college, forget it. We're going to teach you the way it really works.
Exactly.
So it's nice you're getting an exposure to both sides at the same time.
Yes, because people ask me what I major in. Of course, I majored in music business, but the same thing, I'm also getting, when I graduate, I'll have a BBA, which is essentially a business degree. So I'm still taking classes like accounting and finance and microeconomics and all those, traditional business classes, so that all else fails, I still have a job somewhere. And I've also thought about even going to law school after I graduate, maybe even going into entertainment law. And a lot of that, I think, helps if I ever, get to the point in time, if I'm ready to sign with somebody, that, I've got some knowledge. I've got a little bit of knowledge behind what's going on.
Oh, that's really cool. We talked about your music. Let's hear some of it. What are you going to do for it?
I'm actually going to debut something brand new for people out there today. Yeah, this is something that I think we're going to record for what hopes to be my upcoming album. This is a song that I actually just finished a couple of days ago. It's called Do the Little Things. This is a song that I guess I wrote a lesson that I'd learned from my girlfriend. And it's essentially, it talks about, guys focus on, doing the big dinners, the big gestures, buying diamond rings and all these kind of things. But what women really want, from what I've learned in my 21 years, which is not a lot of time, but, from what I've learned is, the little things, like, holding their hand and those kind of things. So I've kind of crafted a song out of that. So this one is called Do the Little Things, so I'll do this one for you right now.
Freeman Arthur on Nashville Access, Facebook Live.
I know you think you got her figured out. There's some things she don't care about. All the things you buy her, like that big diamond ring. Well, that's only half your job, so I hope you're listening. sing, 'cause I'm telling you now, don't you ever get lazy. You better go listen to Gone Crazy. And I'm telling you now, don't forget to call her baby. Never let her think he loves me, maybe. You better take that time. You better take that time. Do the little things. When she asks you to hold her hand, take it. If you don't like holding her purse, fake it. If you don't, you'll find yourself wishing that you could. 'Cause she'll leave you and find someone that'll treat her like you should. And I'm telling you now, don't you ever get lazy. You better go listen to Gone Crazy. And I'm telling you now, don't forget to call her baby. Never let her think he loves me, maybe. You better take that time. You better take that time. Do the little things. And I'm telling you now, don't you ever get lazy. You better go listen to Gone Crazy. And I'm telling you now, don't forget to call her baby. Never let her think he loves me, maybe. You better take that time. You better take that time and do the little things. 'Cause you can give her the world, but it still won't mean a thing if you don't take that time. You better take that time and do the little things. Don't end up like me. You better take that time and do the little things.
Very nice. Freeman Arthur, that's a great song.
Thanks. It's brand new.
And you wrote that yourself?
Yes, I did.
Do you do a lot of co-writing?
Some, not very much. I'm actually in the process right now of setting up with Scott Davis, who actually he does a lot in Christian music. He's wrote several things for people like Rush of the Fools and things like that. But I'm very new into starting out in co-writing and things like that. Because for so many years, I really didn't consider myself to be a songwriter. You know, I really liked to sing and I really liked music, but I just didn't really see myself as much of, you know, being able to pen those great words on paper.
Tough job.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, whenever you hear, you know, music and you just think, man, how did they come up with that? And then you hear it and you're thinking, man, why didn't I think of that? And just, you know, it's just so crazy how you have those songs where the melody and the words just seem to fit together perfectly. And you know, it's whenever you couldn't imagine those words with any other melody, or you couldn't imagine, you know, that melody with any other words, you know. So it's a complicated process at times, but sometimes if you just open up your heart and you just pour it out there, you know, good things will come to you.
Are you liking doing the writing end of it?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's a good way to express yourself. One of the things that I'm trying to tailor away from a little bit is You know, I try not to be as personal, although a lot of people do connect on personal levels, but I'm trying to, you know, expand my writing to where I can write a song that, you know, essentially that everybody can relate to in some type of way. You know, because there's a point where you can get so personal where, you know, a few people may be able to relate to it, but, you know, the majority of people may not be able to. And, you know, with that song right there, I think any woman would be able to say that doing the little things is probably an essential to a relationship.
Yeah, you know they're going to be in a car and the girl's going to be going like that.
Yeah.
What he said.
Sure.
How much of your small town roots had an influence on the style of music that you're doing and that you like?
Well, I'll tell you, I grew up on a soybean farm. So I grew up, I guess, a farm kid, a plowboy. I've spent many hours driving a tractor in a field, tearing up ground, and you know, helping my dad plant soybeans. We also farm watermelons. So if any of you like watermelons that are really big, come to West Tennessee. We'll be able to have those for you next year. But you know, there's so many times that I just have that, you know, that I guess stereotypical, you know, Southern traditional style growing up. You know, Nashville. You know, my girlfriend is from Denver, and she came to Nashville, and she thought this is what the South is like. But the city is very different than out in the rural culture that you grow up in. Don't get me wrong, I love Nashville, I love the city, but one thing that I had to get used to was traffic. You know, to wait 30 minutes, you got to, you know, leave 30 minutes early if you just want to go to Walmart to get there on time. That's something I never, you know, had to associate with.
Traffic jam for you to be stuck behind a harvester.
I guess that's why that song was such a big hit for Craig Morgan.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I really appreciate you taking time. I'm a fan of your music, and I hope great things happen for you. We're really thankful you came.
Oh, well, thank y'all so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Freeman Arthur, and make sure you get his CD. See, I don't have my glasses on. You tell me.
The Blessin' or Lesson EP, available now on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play. Y'all have a great day. God bless.
This is the future.